Hello, my name is Benjamin Kepner, CEO of Global Social Media Marketing, Google Ads and Google Analytics instructor with the Digital Workshop Center, and also a Google for Education certified trainer.
Welcome, Growth Tribe. This is Benjamin Kepner of Global Social Media Marketing. Today, we're going to be talking about how to create placement exclusions based on data that you have collected for your YouTube ads campaigns, either via audience, demographic, keyword targeting, the list goes on and on. But this is an advanced strategy that I see a lot of YouTubers not following, and it can really help to save you money on your ad spend. So you are not wasting money placing your advertisements on channels that are not going to convert. So I'm going to be showing two examples in today's training video. I'm going to be showing one of our existing funnel here at Global Social Media Marketing. We've been running a solar sales funnel for about 2 to 3 months now. And then I'm also going to be showing one of our clients of Gambale Labs, or Stacy Dowling, who's in the mortgage loan officer space. We've been working with them for a majority of this year, and we're trying to build out exclusions lists now from all the data that we've been collecting to see if there's anything that's not converting or not relevant. So when I'm doing this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into our Google Ads account. I've got the Global Social Media Marketing account pulled up here, and you can see the different campaigns that we're running. Now, you could break this down, right, when you are doing this exercise by the campaign level. But because I have multiple campaigns and we've been running this, each of these campaigns may have thousands of placements. So instead of going into each individual campaign, I'm going to just be showing an overview of the overall account and starting there. But I would recommend this if you're managing YouTube ads for a given client to drill this down by campaign to be more specific, because different campaigns obviously have different targeting options that then lead to placing your ads on different types of channels, mobile devices, whatever it may be. So going into your Google Ads account, there's a section right here that says placements. And then within placements, you'll see this option that says where ads showed. Now, what this is telling you is it's telling you, based upon your campaigns that you've been running, your ads for whatever those targeting features have been placed on these types of channels. So you can see right here, there's a list of all of these YouTube channels that our ads have been placed on mobile and application and sites. When you would see mobile application and site, to understand why you would be seeing those, that's going to be based on your campaign settings. So just quickly to go into one of our campaigns to show how that happens, right? You can see that our targeting right here is networks, YouTube search results, YouTube videos, video partners on display network. So what's happening here is any of these ones that are getting bucketed into that display network, like mobile devices or apps or any of those things, those are going to be coming up under the video partners. And then if you see YouTube videos, right, then that's when you're going to get those YouTube channel placements. So that's how that happens. Just going back though to all of our campaigns and then going into placements and where our ads have showed to date. What we're going to do this exercise is really kind of looking at these placements and, number one, understanding, are these relevant? Meaning, if, for example, we're running a solar sales funnel to get more solar clients, we probably only want our ads on places that those people are hanging out, right? Maybe a solar company owner is watching the news. Maybe they have a favorite band that they like, or maybe they're watching other solar channels, right? There's a good chance that they are watching solar videos and stuff like that. But for example, there might be some campaigns or channels that might not be relevant, like if they're watching like a kids channel, or meditation is very big on YouTube, or lullabies is also another huge niche with on YouTube. So those things might not be as relevant, right? So it's kind of digging into that psychology a little bit. And then also what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out which placements are actually converting or are leading to conversions. So usually when I'm doing this, I'm going to make sure that I've got the right columns, right? For most of our clients, or if you're running YouTube ads yourself, you're probably going to be wanting to look at things like clicks, cost, impressions, click through rate, interactions. We don't really care about as much, average cost per click, views, average CPV. And then if we're doing conversion campaigns, right, where we're generating leads or sales, we probably want to know how many conversions or what's that cost per conversion, right? So we can kind of see those. Another thing I'd like to see is also conversion rate. That tells me how kind of, again, relevant it is. So I'll probably add that. So these are usually the YouTube KPI metrics that I'm always analyzing for all of our clients. And as you can see those changes now, you're seeing a bunch of Chinese channels, right? Or Japanese. So going back, not to segue into different languages right now, but looking at these channels, right? If I'm auditing my account and I'm running an ads for leads or sales, right? What I can quickly do is I can click on conversions here at the top. And now I can see the actual channels that have converted. So when I'm going through this process, these would be channels potentially that are going to be placements where whatever I'm running, right? Let's say I'm running a keyword campaign or an audience campaign or whatever the targeting is. What this is doing is these are being placed upon those targeting options and they're converting. So the strategy here long term is eventually building out a list that is leveraging, for example, keywords and leveraging these placements, right? It's like you're getting intent of what people are searching for and also where they're hanging out. So the combination of those two things will generally drive more conversions, conversion rate, cost per conversion. So when I'm going through this, what I do is I take all the data on the account, or if you're drilling down at the campaign level, if you have time for that, you're going to export this as a CSV file and you're just going to go to download. Again, this is under placements where I had showed. And if I scroll to the bottom here, you're going to see our campaigns have been placed on roughly about 35,000 different properties. Now, not all of those are YouTube channels. Some of those could be websites, apps, and things like that. So this is like a big list, right? So it's kind of now figuring out how do I parse this down and strategically use this list to improve my campaigns. So I'm just going to open up a Google spreadsheet. We're going to be using this at Global for our team. We're actually going through this process this week of doing this for all of our clients because we just haven't had the bandwidth to do this. But now we've got some hours that have opened up and we're going to be doing this for all of our clients. And so we're going to be building out tabs for all of our different clients. So we're just going to start with GSMM as an example since our team is going to be working on that this upcoming week. And we've got all of our data here now, right? So I should see something around, right, 35,000 placements. A lot of data to go through. So I'm going to just remove real quickly anything I don't need. I know this is in US currency. Um, Everything else is good. I like to kind of just clean this so it's easier to look at. And then I like to put some lines to keep me within my road. And then I'll come in here and just kind of do like a highlight, just so I know these are the main columns. And then I can kind of just shift these guys so it's a little bit easier to view. A lot of data, that's why this is loading slowly. So as an example, showing this in today's video, I would say if you're going to have hundreds of thousands of placements, or like an example that we have, if we have 35,000, you might need to make separate spreadsheets, right? You can only hold so much data in a Google spreadsheet or an Excel, so that's just something to keep in mind if you're working with large data. So pulling these out now, as this extended, there must be some really long YouTube channel names. Like I said, where I like to start, like low-hanging fruit, if you are running YouTube ads today and you're generating leads and sales, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a filter and see which channels have actually converted. So I'll just clear all these out and then just go get the ones that have converted. Okay. So this has got all of our conversions that we've had in the solar campaign, right? So what I might do here as I'm building this list out, I'll just kind of move this guy, if I can, out of the way. Just put him over to the right. What I like to do first is I like to kind of parse out the ones that I know are converting, right? So we're going to go look to see if all of these are relevant. Like I'm not sure about Ping Pong, Baby Shark, Kicksons, and Stories, but we'll take that for now. What I'm going to do first, and maybe it's easier to understand what I'm doing here, is this is the GSMM where ads showed, let's call this raw data under placements for the solar campaign, right? And then what I'm going to do here is now I'm going to create a placement tab that is, these are the converting placements, meaning that they generated leads, sales, or whatever my marketing goal. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to just do, instead of trying to cut this, is I'm just going to try to copy it. See if that works. I only have 3, 6, like around 10. So this shouldn't be too crazy to paste. So those carried over. And then what I'll do, just so it's, the same, what I'll do is like those are already parsed out now, right? So I can kind of just delete those guys now from the raw, and then data, and turn off this filter, right? So I've got all my stuff now. I'm back to where it was, but I've parsed out the converting placements, right? So this could be potentially its own new campaign in itself, right? If I was running some keyword campaigns and these converted, maybe I'm going to want to create a new campaign this week that is just focused around the existing keywords with these placements because I know that those audiences are converting, right? So I'm just going to make sure I've got stuff here at the top so I know what all that is. And so now what I'm doing here, right, is I'm building out, this is my converting placements. Most of these are keywords. I know that because I've been running these campaigns. So these are converting placement keywords campaigns where these are low-hanging fruit campaigns. I know that these channels already convert with those keywords. So maybe I want to build a specific campaign around that, right? So that's the step one I'm doing when I'm going through where ads showed. I'm essentially leveraging the data of the keywords and seeing what placements converted, and let's build a campaign around those because maybe that's where my audience is hanging out, right? You can see I've even got a couple mobile applications in there, which I explained are because of the targeting of running ads on a display network if I'm not just running YouTube videos. Now, the second thing I want to do when I'm collecting all this data, which I feel is more important, which I pretty much see every YouTuber on the planet not doing this, and it's probably either a bandwidth thing or it's just that they don't realize that they can do this. But what you want to do next is you want to start to go down this list. And obviously, 35,000 would take me a really long time. But maybe starting with just some basic patterns that I can discover, right? First thing I would say is knowing your audience. So, for example, for us as a company, we are trying to reach solar companies, right? Generally in the US. For obvious reasons, it's harder for us to communicate with people in other languages in international countries. There's also different solar laws in different countries. U.S. is also, I would say, from my research, it's more developed with a number of companies and the government incentives around why you can go solar in the United States. So, with knowing that, it's not to say that you can't have an audience that watches international channels, right? America's a melting pot. There are many people that are immigrants that have, gotten their citizenship and they do watch international channels or they're traveling back and those things. But generally, as a rule of thumb, if I'm trying to reach a United States audience that speaks English, there shouldn't probably be a ton of international channels, right? Or at least maybe not some of the languages that I might know, for example, that don't speak very good English, right? Like I know personally, this is probably Czech. Just looking at that, I'm not for certain, or Russian or something of Eastern European language. I don't speak any of these languages, so I won't speak to that. But I already know this channel right here, for example, is probably not a relevant channel. Now, what I can do to kind of double check this, right, is when you export the data, it gives you the actual YouTube channel. So I can go click in, and this is what you would want to do. You would want to kind of go through this process, and you would want to kind of see like, hey, what is this YouTube channel? Where is it based? What is it about? So very large channel, a lot of language that I can't speak. It's in Ukraine. So there you go. This is probably Ukrainian. In my experience, I have not met one Ukrainian solar company owner or had any conversation with anybody of running ads in the last 3 months of leads of them, giving me any sense that they're from Ukraine. So through that kind of just, let's say logic or knowing my audience of our actual customers that are converting through my YouTube ads, probably any Ukrainian YouTube channels are just not going to make sense, right? So now what I'm doing is I'm going to go back, right? See what I just did is I went down the list and I started looking for international channels that I don't think that are relevant because I'm targeting a US English based audience. I went and I looked at the YouTube channel to get a better understanding of what is the YouTube channel about, where is it based. Because I don't speak Ukrainian, I can't really tell you what this channel is about. I could just quickly go look at some videos, see if there's anything here I could kind of garner. I'm just not really sure, but I know it's in Ukraine, so maybe there's a language thing there where I'm just generally saying, hey, we're generally selling to English speaking people. This is probably not relevant. I haven't talked to any Ukrainian people. If the content, for whatever reason, when I go to the channel, just seems way off, like I can tell he's talking about finance a little bit, maybe he's talking about crypto or something like that. That's not relevant, right? We are targeting solar company owners that are targeting typing in like solar leads or getting solar ads and things like that. So this is one I would want to exclude, right? Because I'm wasting advertising dollars. I haven't spent a lot, right? 8 cents. But hey, that might have been 8 cents that I could have got another view elsewhere, right? I mean, this generated 3 views. Could have been 3 views on another channel that would have been more relevant. So from my perspective, not that I've wasted a lot of money here, but I have wasted 8 cents by running an ad that shows on this Ukrainian YouTube channel with people that probably don't speak English, that are probably not looking to go work with a company like us to get solar leads, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build another tab, and I'm going to say these are the exclusion placements. Right, so these are going to be all the places that I feel are not relevant or are not my right audience, and you have to go through that process that I just went through. So some factors where you're kind of parsing out the ones that you want to exclude would be like, what languages do your customers speak? What country is your audience based in? And then is the channel relevant? Meaning, like, if this channel is about finance, that's not relevant to the audience that I'm trying to reach. Now, if this was a solar channel, that might be relevant. Some of them are be in the middle, right? Like people that watch music. I mean, the average human watches a ton of music on YouTube, just like a lot of people watch movies or comedy on YouTube. So sometimes there's kind of a gray area with that of just understanding the human aspect of it. But if it's like a very topic specific channel on finance, when I know I'm not really trying to talk to CFOs, then I know that that's not relevant. And also in this case, it's international, it's in Ukrainian. So I probably don't want this. So I'm just going to copy that, go over to exclusions, paste that guy in, and now I'm going to delete that. So I've kind of gone down that list. So as you can imagine, through 35,000 properties, this could take a really long time. So sometimes, you can kind of try to filter these, right, to kind of save you some time. I just did an example of this with another client in the roofing industry. Here's another kind of quick pro tip you can do to kind of make this process go faster, would be kind of segmenting out specific keywords that you also know are not relevant. So I'm not going to show you roofing because that's not relevant to us. But for example, I just showed you an example of like a Ukrainian finance channel, or at least we think, right? So maybe what I could do is I could type in the word finance and see if there are any channels that come up with the keyword finance in them. And as you see, this is populating quite a bit of them, right? Maybe what's happening is I have been running ads without, looking at the data here for a while. I'm showing on all these finance channels, right? So what I've done now is I just did a Command F if I'm on a Mac. Excuse me for those Windows users. I haven't used Windows since the 90s. But you would search on your spreadsheet, either in Excel or Google Sheet. You would do a Command Function F to find those keywords that you're like, does that root keyword of the channel, does it have any relevancy to what I'm targeting? So like, for example, like unlocking finance. And then again, I could double check it and just go quickly see like, what is this channel about? So it
Bank of
looks
Baroda
like
zero.
this is also going to maybe be an international channel in India, right? We don't have any solar companies in India, so already there, that's a signifier for me that maybe this is not the right audience. Also, it looks like the channel is about finance, right? Home loans, SBA loans, dealing with the bank, personal loans. None of this is relevant to me reaching solar company owners. Not to say that solar company owners aren't watching finance channels, but is that actually a channel that I want to put my ad on, right? The answer is probably no. I'm probably wasting again money here that could be better spent on another channel of like a solar channel, or maybe it's another marketing channel where they're researching how to get leads for their solar company and stuff like that. So going back to this, I've done my due diligence, right? Like I parsed out some data and I could go through that and start going through all the finance channels, right? Savage Finance, Goella School of Finance, School of Personal Finance. Like none of these are relevant to solar. I mean, at least not from my perspective, knowing our customers. So this is an easier way to kind of just go through real quickly and just go see all the channels that are about finance and say, hey, none of those are relevant, right? Like car finance. That has nothing to do with solar. I've wasted 4 cents, right? So like doing this again, the point of this is to figure out which channels have your ads been running on that are not relevant, and then now kind of building out a list. And because this is such a huge list of 35,000, you shouldn't feel overwhelmed and be like, well, this is going to take me all year. It might, but what you're doing here is small baby steps, right? You're starting to build a list like, hey, if you do this exclusion project every week and you build out 100 channels that you can exclude, you may have just saved yourself $100 that week. So it's like, they always say the saying, nothing in life comes easy to things that are going to be great. Like, if you want to really be an amazing YouTube advertiser that's got like super targeted ads that are running on the right channels, this is the grind work that a lot of YouTubers are not doing because they either don't know how to do this or they're not taking the time to do this. But look at all of these channels that we're showing on 35,000. What if in time I could figure out how to exclude 30,000? Would I potentially save myself $30,000? I could, right? Because I'm not showing my ad on things that are not relevant. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through this, chug away at it one by one each week. It's a lot to look at, so don't feel overwhelmed. It's about steady baby steps, building up, making your ad campaign smarter, and not running on channels that are not relevant. So, like Zap Finance TV, just to show another example, I would click into it. I would say, okay, wow, they've got a pretty big subscriber base. I'm seeing some international languages. They're based in Indonesia. We don't have any solar company clients. This channel is about financial planning and financial literacy. Boom. All those factors for me just cross off as not relevant. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go to my exclusions list. I'm going to add it. And then I'm going to go back and remove it from the raw data so it's been placed. So that's what I'm doing in this. And hopefully that makes sense to any viewers out there watching this, is that the goal of this is to export your data from where your ad showed. Start with building a smart list of the actual campaigns that are converting, because that might be a new campaign for you in itself, right? You already know that these convert. Now, you're going to go through this list here in a second too and see maybe if there's some that are not relevant there, but at least these are low-hanging fruit channels that already convert. Then the second step in this process is going through and figuring out, where are my ads showing that I'm wasting advertising dollars that are not relevant audiences, or are on channels that are not in the region that I am, either in language, topic, or a geographic location, right? So those are some things. Outside of doing those things, then you would just be mainly going through these channels one by one and just asking yourself, does this channel make sense for my audience? And so just kind of quickly going through these. Again, you can see a bunch of global ones because we were running some global campaigns at some point, but like church stars, maybe that's about church. Okay, maybe some of our audiences are religious. NBC The Voice, I know that's like, The Voice is a huge television show, so that could be maybe relevant. Like Scary Teacher Family, I'm not sure. You'll also see a bunch of kids shows is another thing. So here's an interesting perspective on that is, obviously if I was targeting a solar company owner and they had kids, they might be watching kids shows because their kid got on their YouTube app, or have YouTube TV in their home, and they, Saturday morning comes on, they put on the Saturday morning cartoons for their kids, right? So it's tough to tell, but generally, I would say, kids channels are not going to be the best approach. So if you see a bunch of kids channels, right, you could do that command search now, and I could type in kids, and boom, look at that. There's like thousands of kids channels that our ads are showing on right now. So are we wasting thousands of dollars right now running on all these kids channels because kids are watching it and they don't even know what solar lead YouTube ads are to begin with? They don't own a solar company. Same thing again there. Like, gaming channels would be another example of maybe not relevant for us. Like, are we on a bunch of video game channels? Funny enough, the best YouTube channels on YouTube are like top 20 of them, or 10 of them are video game channels. So they have huge things. Smithsonian channel. Like, do our solar company owners watch history? Maybe. Maybe they just like watching that, right? So these kind of like going through these things, you're kind of like just kind of asking yourself, like, would my audience even be there or hang out? And if you're not sure, maybe create another tab that just says like maybes, so that what you're doing here is you're segmenting smart lists of like, here's the people I don't want my ads to see on these channels. Here's the channels that I do want them to see. And then here's maybes that I'm not sure about. And then you have your raw data. So once you build out this list, right, this could take some time, then you're going to want to actually add them as exclusions. So let's say I built out, 1,000 person list, and like I said, this is like a long-term project where you want to build this out. And the cool thing about doing this is once you build a solid list, then you can use that list for all of your campaigns moving forward, right? So you can literally then go into all of your campaigns and make sure that you're not wasting advertising dollars spending on channels that you shouldn't really be spending on. So when I do this, the easiest way to do this to add exclusions is to go back into your ads account. And let's say I want to add this to our existing campaign that we're running, our discovery keywords campaign, and I want to add some exclusions. You'll see right under where ads showed exclusions. And time again, I see this with all of our clients or anyone that I've ever worked with in YouTube. They always have this nothing. And it's like, it's a huge opportunity that they're missing out on. So, what you do here is now you click on the pencil icon and you want to either use a list. So, one option is you can actually, once you build a list, you can upload that list to Google Ads and you can just click this button and then put your list in there. As you can see, we have no list. So, this is going to be a homework for us to do. If you don't have a list to pull from, then you're just going to have to go in and add these individually and see here's all the things you can exclude: channels, videos, websites, app categories. We're going to start with channels because generally most of our ads are running on the YouTube platform, YouTube videos, and things like that. And then you'll go in and you can add them individually. Now, let's say you built your list and you've got a big list. There's an easier way to do this, to do kind of like a bulk upload, and you just come to enter, and now you can enter multiple placements. Now, when you do this, you want to have something that is in a nice column kind of spreadsheet like this, so you can just grab them all at once, right? So let's say this was like hundreds or thousands. I could just come down, copy this column, go back to where ads showed, if I didn't go the wrong way, and then paste them in. And so see, now it's going to populate. So what happens here is if you have multiple, you can kind of upload them all at once. Like you can do thousands of them at a time. So you're not having to plug in each individual one. And then it will give you the number of, Google Ads kind of recognizing, okay, this is 2 channel placements. So once that's done, you're going to click on that button that says add 2 placements, and then they're going to move over to the right if they're confirmed. Now, if you add placements here and for whatever reason they don't transfer over, you'll get an error message right here below at the bottom. And it will say something like, hey, 29 of your 30 placements have been added. And it will say one of them has not been added. What's happening there is a number of things. Number one, it could be that the channel has decided as a YouTube partner to not allow advertisements on their YouTube channel, which is a decision you can only make if you're a YouTube partner as of 2021. It used to be where the only way you could run ads on YouTube channels is if you were a YouTube partner, and YouTube said, scratch that. There's billions of videos being uploaded. We can make millions more dollars if we can just run our ads wherever. So now you have no control of that unless you're a YouTube partner. So for example, like our company, we have thousands of advertisements running on our YouTube channel now because we have some videos that are kind of taken off, and I have no control of that because I'm not a YouTube partner. But when I become a YouTube partner, let's say, for example, I want other marketing companies running their marketing campaigns on my channel, I can exclude that. So if you ever see an error when you're going through and adding placements and then you can't add them, probably a leading factor would be that they're either a very large channel and they've said, YouTube, I don't want other advertisers advertising on me. Another thing is YouTube channels get created very quickly and taken down very quickly, either for profanity, political issues. Even ourselves, we've had a video taken down for, what they deem to be as like not fair practices or copyright or for whatever reason. So some of these placements that you might develop, the channel might exist one week and then be gone the next week. So you need to keep in mind that if you don't get a placement on there, it's not the end of the world. It's about developing as big of a list as you can and then trying to add as many of those as you can based on the capabilities. So those are added, right? And you'll see here they haven't been added. So then the next step is you want to click save. And now it's going to put the ones that you entered in and put them into the bottom. And so now what I've done is I've told Google in this campaign, hey, I'm already running all these keywords, and I dug into my placements of where those ads showed. I exported that data and I actually started going through that data and I realized that we're spending money on Zap Finance TV and some Ukrainian YouTube channel about finance I've never heard of. These are just wasting our money on our campaigns. So as time goes on and I build this out, it's going to improve the performance of my campaign and reduce wasted ad spend. And also, it's going to help drive more data to understand what channels are converting, right? So, exclusions are a really strategic way to improve the performance of your campaigns. And going through that process that I just showed is kind of how you can go do that. Now, to kind of close with this training, to go back to, talking about some of the converting channels, right? Low hanging fruit, you would generally hope that, these ones that have conversions, right? As you look at the conversion column, that these are relevant, but that still might not be the case, right? There's tons of spam bots out there or people that might have been in the moment watching a video or something and they thought it was cool and they converted. But like I would then probably go to my conversions and be like, hey, do these make sense? So immediately, like this one stands out to me like probably not relevant. It's in another language. It converted for whatever reason. Huge YouTube channel, right? 300,000 subscribers. Looks like they're based in Vietnam. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing. It looks like he's a food channel, maybe kind of covering Vietnamese culture, Vietnamese food potentially. But again, I would just logically or critically think through this myself, knowing my audience. Are solar company owners watching Vietnamese channels? Probably not. Are they watching video content about food? Probably. But maybe Vietnamese food very specifically? Probably not. So this is like one of those insights where I'm going back to my list and saying like, hey, even though this converted to a lead, it wasn't a qualified lead for us. So I'm gonna kind of like mark that, and then maybe I might want to make like a second tab here that's something like, hey, this converted, but it's not relevant, right? So that I can then maybe go back over that as I go through my conversions and then add them to that exclusions playlist or placements list so that I'm not running ads on, again, things that are not quality leads or not important to my business. So hopefully this training has been helpful. I think this is something that every YouTuber out there is missing the boat on. Either they're just not aware of it or they don't have the manpower or the bandwidth to do it. But as you can tell, just looking at this, I mean, this is literally 2 to 3 months of us running just around 3K in YouTube ads, which is not that much money, but we appeared on over 35,000 YouTube channels. Are 35,000 YouTube channels really relevant to us? Probably not. I probably, if I could dwindle it down to 100 to 500 of the best, then that's going to be, the channels that I want. So if you're running YouTube ad campaigns and you have conversion data, start with that. If not that, then look at maybe your views or your click-through rate as kind of like a secondary factor and build out these lists. And then once you build those lists out, you're going to save yourself a lot of money and make sure that you don't run your ads on these channels that are irrelevant. So I hope this has been helpful. I will see you hopefully around the Global Social Media Marketing YouTube channel as we release more videos on how to grow your business. And please give us a like or subscribe if you found this video helpful. Take care and see you in the next video.